Today we're going to talk about some things we had in class this semester. We're going to talk about selection and evolution and how the environment and reproduction and diet can change a species over time, millions of years. First, we're going to talk about salamanders. In California, salamanders became separated geographically, and over millions of years they evolved to adapt to their different environments. They've changed so much that they are on their way to becoming totally different species entirely. David Wake of the University of California, Berkeley explains.
The history of this species complex began about 10 million years ago in the ancient redwood forests of northern California, where we have today this form picta, which is highly variable both genetically and in terms of coloration. There were two migratory routes followed by animals as they moved into southern California. One along the Sierra Nevada mountain chain, where animals moved into the forest region. The other along the coastal mountains. They avoided the Great Central Valley.
Basically, the salamanders specialized for two reasons. One, to blend in from their environment and hide from predators. The other, to resemble poisonous animals in order to deter their predators altogether.
At the end of the chain in Southern California, we have this form claveri, which is the extreme of variation, showing the largest blotches, the most bold marking. These were all then camouflaged organisms that were hiding from predators. Along the coast, a different strategy was followed. Here, the organisms adopted the color pattern and behavior of dangerously poisonous newts, and they became, instead of camouflage, they were advertising their resemblance to these dangerously poisonous animals and gaining an advantage because of their mimicry.
Next, we're going to talk about the relationship between a snail-eating snake and the snails that they eat. The Parius awasaki is a species of snake that lives in Japan, and its diet is solely on this one snail, which has its shell coiled to the right side. Here you can see the snake stalking the snail. Because the snail has its shell coiled to the left, the snake is having trouble eating this particular snail. The snail-eating snake eats snails, and both its body and behavior are beautifully adapted to prize these animals from their defensive shell. A clockwise shell, known as a dextral one, sits on the snail's right side. So the snake stalks from the left, it grabs the shell with the upper jaw and sticks its lower one into the gap. Amazingly, a single gene controls the way the shell spirals. One version creates a dextral snail and the other one creates a sinistral. Over time, the less common should lose out. Dextral snails are in the majority, so a dextral snail would have a far larger supply of mates than sinistral ones. They would eventually outcompete and drive the others to extinction. That is, unless having a sinistral snail has some sort of benefit that outweighs the difficulty in finding a suitably shaped sexual partner, a benefit like snake resistance. Sometimes the adaptation isn't easy to see, but it's still vital to the species' survival. Let's take a look at the Italian wall lizard, for example. The transplanted lizards adapted to their new environment in ways that expedited their evolution physically. For example, the new island had an abundance of plants for the primary insect-eating lizards. Physically, the lizards were not built to digest a vegetarian diet. Researchers found that the lizards developed cecal valves, muscles between the large and small intestine that slowed down food digestion in fermenting chambers, which allowed their bodies to process the vegetarian cellulose into volatile fatty acids. They evolved an expanded gut to allow them to process these leaves. Adding it was something that had not been documented before. Along with their ability to digest plants came the ability to bite harder, powered by a head that had grown longer and wider. The rapid physical evolution also sparked changes in the lizard's social and behavioral structure. For one, the plentiful food sources allowed for easier reproduction and a denser population. The lizard also dropped some of its territorial defenses. Such physical transformation in just 30 lizard generations takes evolution to a whole new level. I hope this video has shown you how powerful nature can be, and I would like to leave you with a song about speciation.
What are the processes that lead to speciation? Well, listen and I'll tell you the first rule. A group needs to get cut off from other populations and isolate their very own gene pool. Well, it could be a mountain and you're on the other side. It could be a river that's a little bit too wide. We could fly away from them all that we can carry on, just as long as there's a So you've got your little gene pool and you think you're in the game. Well, it don't mean nothing if your genes just stay the same. But with a little variation and natural selection, your allele frequency moves you in a new direction. Now your group has seen some changes and some folks are gonna ask,
is that a whole new species?
to answer is our task. Genealogical concept backs your independent history, but to prove you're biological, you need to get risky. Well, you could be the other group, but you might not have a chance. Your key don't fit the lock, or you don't do the dance. Or the future of your gametes is prevented by a hurdle, or your hybrid offspring are dead or fertile. I hope this song provides you with a valuable summation of the things you need to know about speciation.